know someone, or are you personally battling a drug and alcohol addiction? Why are so many people addicted today? And why have so many people died as a direct result of this disease? If you've been affected by this problem and want answers like we do, then join us in our efforts to face this disease. Our purpose is to examine the truths, expose the lies, and uncover and provide resources to this affliction. Come, join us in this journey.
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
So I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message that made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.
It's an issue that's really important to me. I'm doing a show called Mom that deals with people in recovery. It's a Chuck Lorre show. It's a great show, and I love how we show that recovery can be fun. It's not all dreary, and we're destigmatizing it a bit, because I think people who have addictions tend to hide that fact, or feel they have to hide, or that there's some shame attached to it. And I think it's important to remove that shame and bring it out into the open and deal with it as a society, because it's such an important issue. It affects so many people, so many families, even the families of the people who aren't the addicts. It's a whole. And there's so much support and love out there and hope that I just want people to know that more, and that's what things like this are getting that out there, getting the message out there.
That is, there's actually a kit out there that can help save people's lives. And Kevin was nice enough today to bring that kit with us, and he's going to tell us first what it is. We have it here. I have one here. It is a Narcan treatment kit. And then Kevin's going to show us with the one in front of him of what this kit is and what does it do, Kevin? Can you tell us?
That's an undisturbed kit. Naloxone, or we hear it commonly called Narcan, I guess you might want to call it a miracle drug because it reduces the effect of the overdose immediately. And so it hasn't been readily available. Massachusetts was really the first state to kick it into gear because it is a prescription drug. And
what you're saying is such a key point, because that's the problem with addicts coming in, or new, people that are just, even if they're so depressed, not even acting out on drugs, but just so, in the struggle, in the grips in some way, is, you go into a program with the fellowship, and like you talked about the steps, a 12-step program, you learn these spiritual principles, you practice this program, and then you get to learn and have those tools and develop, that overnight. That's why treatment can be so important, because if you're somewhere for 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, maybe you can learn a new perspective, but then the aftercare. So that's what, we've been talking a lot about on Addiction and Recovery TV. It's we see now recovery is available, and they do stuff in LA. Like, they have these places you can go and get a shower, and they help the homeless. But the problem is that people aren't getting the help internally. Like, if you just go to a treatment center or a detox, but you don't have that something that happens where you can change, you just continue in that vicious cycle. And I don't know about you guys, but that's where my heart really hurts, is because breaking the cycle. We can go in and out of treatment, in and out of rehabs, and see people get a couple days under their belt, but it's the going back that really sucks, and watching and the suffering. And then just the other point I wanted to say, so if this makes you guys think of stuff to talk about, that when people are going into treatment, right, and they have depression, they have anxiety, and then the facilities are giving these people medications but not taking in consideration, like I was saying, on the show in LA is that these people have to be better trained to know, because if I'm depressed or I have anxiety and you're giving me Klonopin and benzos, how is that going to affect if I'm an addict and I suffer from the disease of addiction? It's just going to highlight it.
Right.
And so how do you treat someone with the depression and anxiety and also as the addict, but then not deny that maybe they need a little medication? I mean, it's a tough, rough road, and they're not really thinking about the depression and anxiety from a place of treating it with also looking at this person has a substance
No,
abuse
and they're
problem.
treating everybody the same exact
Right.
way. It's
Cookie
Cookie cutter.
treatment.
They have a
And
new
it's not
gold
working.
standard.
Oh, God.
But it's not working, right? I mean, it's
yeah.
not
No.
working.
What they've been doing lately, the last couple years or something, is there's alternatives. There's yoga, which
Right.
helps immensely. But what do
Meditation.
people say? Meditation. Spiritual. What do people say when they say, well, we offer yoga? They go, oof, I'm not doing that. Because I said it.
Because people
Right.
aren't open enough to
Exactly.
really learn things.
But
you know what
Art
I mean?
said the key word, the spirituality. Like, people don't want to hear that word, but you got
You know why?
it.
Because people put spirituality with you are standing around praying all day long, and
Right.
that is not the
it's
case.
not what
You
it
know what I mean?
is.
It's having faith in something,
Right.
something,
Greater
anything.
than ourselves.
that chair over there. You know what I mean? I don't
Positive,
care.
Positive, like a positive force.
Exactly.
Like,
The
Yeah.
12-step
like Richie
meetings.
said, yeah.
And
Yeah.
because
You know?
addiction is
Something
negative.
bigger than us.
So
Right.
if you put something positive in to replace it, because you're taking something away, and us being in a lifestyle for so many years
Right.
of negativity, you take that away. What do you got? You don't have anything, so you got to replace it with something.
And besides,
Right.
what happens when you surround yourself with negativity? You become
Exactly.
negative.
Yeah.
So if you surround yourself with positivity,
You'll
you're
you'll
gonna be
get positive.
I mean, my grandmother used to say, "You go with somebody who limps, and by the end of the year, you're going to limp." And I'd be like, "Yes, yeah, right, okay, whatever." 60 years later, man, Grandma was pretty wise. You know
Yes, she was.
Well, you know what, Art?
Show me who you hang with, and I'll tell you what you are.
And that's exactly right.
That's the truth.
You are who you hang with.
You become who you hang with.
Look
too.
who I hang. The best.
That's
The
right.
best.
Yeah, but 40 years ago,
No. Wasn't like that 40 years ago.
Nah.
And you said instant gratification. What's the solution to instant gratification? The third step of a 12-step fellowship.
but we're an instant
because we
gratification
delay
society.
gratification.
We want everything now and now.
Yeah, we want it last week.
Some of these kids, they get out of treatment, if they're lucky to be in for 30 days, and they expect everybody to forgive them and love
Right.
them and trust them.
Right.
But listen, I was 48 years old when I left treatment, okay? I had to be babysat. I wasn't allowed to leave my house by myself. My wife had to be there with me, or my daughter had to be with me, who was also 9 months pregnant. Now, if my wife and my daughter had to go to work, my wife used to drop me off at my mom and dad's house. I was allowed on the back patio to smoke a cigarette. I wasn't allowed on the sides of the house or out front, and I was okay with all this. I wasn't allowed to have the keys to the car. I wasn't allowed to have a debit card. I couldn't have no money, but I created all the crap
Right.
in my family's life. So I was okay with everything they said to me. And I had to do something different this time. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. When I do what I want to do, I have bad results, and I end up Narcan 6 times in the hospital with a cop at the foot of my bed, and things aren't good.
Right.
So I figured, what the hell? This is what I have to do, so I abided by all of it.
And look at you
And it
today.
made me a better
Look at
person
you
today.
now. Listen,
Willingness goes a long way.
Exactly.
It's
Look at
that
this.
willingness to want to try and take that first step
right.
to making your life better.
And
And
putting
some
the
humility.
putting the ego in
Yeah.
your pocket and saying, I'm 48 years old, but if I walk out of here and go on my own thinking, I'm in trouble. And we live in a fixed
I know, but when you're 20 years old, you're invincible. When you're 48 years old, you're like,
beat up. A little bit older and
No, man.
a little bit
Look, I
more
thought
wear
I
and
was like
tear.
20
I'm
years old.
indestructible.
Yeah.
That's how I felt,
Not when,
know?
not when you were getting clean.
You know, I get
though.
a
You
chest
beat
pain. I'm
up.
like, I got to run to the doctor.
No, at
man.
the end, I was done.
Dude, I was so broken
surrendered.
that the only thing I had to do was surrender.
I couldn't.
The only way to go was up.
Right.
Because I was down for so
Yo,
long.
I
And
mean
look,
it.
and there wasn't a lot of opportunities for help help at that point in
No,
time,
there
right?
I would be in
Not like
Kensington and
today.
parts of
No,
Camden.
no.
And some of these
Nowhere
guys were
near
like, look at
today.
this white boy walking through here like he owns the place. You know? I was a tough person when I grew up. I was a really tough guy. I'm not too tall and I don't run, so I had to learn how to fight.
Right.
All right? And I was a tough person, but I cried like a baby when I had to go to treatment. I was scared to death. You know, I didn't want to be stuck in a room with a bunch of 20-year-old kids, and I'm a grown man. I don't even know how to act like a grown man.
And that's the part that people don't. They don't seek help because they think they're going away, and they think they're going to be with other people, and they fight that tooth and nail.
Exactly.
And it was a girl in there. Her name was Natasha. I wanted to leave so bad,
Nice
and she
name.
said, if I don't leave, you can't leave. And
Nice.
she was like 20 years old. And I still talk to her every now and then.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I'll stay. And I stayed, you know. But I didn't want to leave because I was going to let too many people down. And more importantly, I was going to let myself down. I need to do something different.
You were
this time.
done. You were done.
Couldn't do it
I
no
never
more.
ever.
It-
As many
evidently,
times
you
as
were
I've
done.
been in help rehabs and all, I never ever left. But I feel that they didn't get to the parts of me that were really bothering me, like you say, the depression.
Because they don't get to the root of the problem.
Right, that's what I'm
You know what I
trying-
mean?
I don't know the word.
I'm using heroin. Why are you using heroin?
That's the question.
Because the doctor got me messed up on
Yeah,
pills.
it's not. It's not.
but
what
it
you're
needs to be
using.
determined.
I got
You
shot.
know, was it a
and I'm
knee
hanging
injury?
from a trapeze, and for 12 months I gotta lay there till they and they come in automatically every 4 hours. They know I'm gonna ring the bell, and they shoot me up with the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fix-oriented society. That's what we live in.
We want gratification, and we want it yesterday.
Rapid refund.
So yeah, Johnny. So then, what was that? You were saying, what's the solution to instant gratification, and you didn't give us the answer.
Yeah, I did.
You did,
Yeah.
but you said third step. But can you narrow that down, or can you explain
Yeah, the third step delays the gratification. It's
Oh.
not a quick fix
why?
because you have to decide to turn our will and lives over to care of God. So it's a decision that implies action. So the action is the rest of the steps. But when you do a thorough third step,
Right.
you get the courage to get into the action, which is the fourth step, inventory.
Boom.
So you're delaying. You're not going by, because I like to get off of my neck because it was faster.
Right.
And I got a better rush or something.
Right.
So that's instant
Instant
gratification. Okay. Rapid refund. When I get my refund from the IRS, I'm borrowing money and paying 90% interest rate to get my money quicker.
Right.
So fast food. I mean,
Right.
there's a whole chapter, to
Yeah.
that. So the society we live in, that society that we're trying to blend back into,
Right.
because it talks about it in our literature, but that's the society that's just as twisted and sick as we are. So I don't need to blend into that society. I'm good where I'm at. You know what I mean? So the delay, in answer to your question, that's it, the third step. We delay the gratification of what it would be without the steps. In other words, fix me.
Right.
What do I need? I know I'll buy a house. I'll buy that new car I want. That's a fix.
Right.
And I'm excited about a new car until I get the payment booklet. Then I go, what did I do?
Right.
But I didn't think because I wanted it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Perfect.
That's a process.
So that's it.
Yeah, that's the journey. Let go.
Does that?
Take it
do you-
easy.
do you-
Yeah.
it
it's a
easy.
good-
Take
it's
Take it
deep.
easy.
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go.
There you go.
Fairy tales can
It's
come
easier.
true.
We carry that on our
It can
phone.
happen for you if you're young at heart. I'm starting to sing again. You got
Oh,
to
no. Please.
Can't be doing that.
Well, at this point in time, I want to thank everyone here. Charlene, it was great to have you on.
I'm honored to be here, guys.
We are honored to have you. I'm
What a
really happy
blessing.
about
What a blessing
I
to
was
be
thinking
able to-
about
be here.
We got to put you on the wall of fame up there.
Oh, nice.
We don't
well,
have your name up there.
I am just so thankful because I think about the early beginnings and the vision that you guys had, and
I'm grateful that you were
bringing these
part
two
of
worlds together. Like, I give so much credit to you guys for even inspiring me. I was going through a tough time. I kind of backburnered my dreams and hopes, and this kind of lit that fire for me again. And then being out in LA, it's like I'm doing my thing over there, you guys are doing your thing over there, and now, over there, and now it's like we can bring those two worlds
absolutely
together
Let's do
again.
it.
I love that.
And being a Californian, they go, "Oh, you're from New Jersey. What exit?" No.
Yeah.
It was an honor and a pleasure.
7A. No,
Thank you, Johnny.
You're welcome.
Love
and
you.
We love you. Kenny, nice job. The
Yes,
word of the
always a
week
pleasure.
you killed it with the word of the week.
Oh, thank
Yes, it was so on point.
It
The
was.
conversation led up to it. How about that? How about
Yeah,
Kenny
absolutely.
being all up in the spiritual
Yeah, I like it. It was
realm,
perfect.
you. I
right?
am. I'm connected.
Yeah.
Vinny,
Right.
thank
I love
you.
it.
Good
Thank
to see you.
John. Thanks for having
I'm
me.
glad you came.
I am too. Thanks, Rich.
We had a great day today.
Can I
Yes,
put
we did.
Can I put you on the spot? I just want to
Absolutely,
Ask it's the question that everyone would ask. But
Absolutely.
Like, so, because you kind of said about being new and all that stuff, and that magic question of this time, what are things maybe different? What's going to be different this time? Like, do you feel like you're different, or what something's going to be different?
Absolutely. I feel like I feel like this time, like I know that the only other option for me is to die.
Right.
Right.
I don't believe, me and Richie have talked about this. I've talked to Johnny Rags about it. I don't believe I have another rehab in me. And I'm only going off of things that have happened. I went back out over the past couple years, and each time I tried doing a bag. Now, this is somebody that had a 15 to 20 bag a day fentanyl habit. Okay, tried doing a bag. I was brought back to life 3 times in the past 2 years. So I know what's out there for me. And it's about choosing whether I want to live or I want to die. And, today I want to live. I have kids. I have a good job. I'm in a good place. I'm in, the Shuva House, shout out, in Mullica Hill.
What else is different about that?
About what?
Mullica Hill's nice.
You always do something to get kicked out of your sober living house. By the second week, you're kicked out. Now you've
Very
been in
true.
this
I
house
didn't- yeah.
over about a month, maybe longer than a month.
Maybe like a month and 2 weeks.
Month and 2 weeks.
I usually last nowhere for 2 weeks. I get somewhere. I'm the type of person.
And his dad's calling me, yo, can you get him into another house?
2 weeks. 2 weeks, and I'm out. Like I either find something a reason to leave, or I'll self-sabotage to get the hell out of there. I'll
we're
do
gonna
it.
run
I'll
out
do
of
it in a
houses.
heartbeat, and I'm not afraid to admit it. But this time, I just realized that I know what else is out there, and it's about not being selfish, and it's about
No, it's okay to be selfish.
selfish with my recovery, but not selfish as far as I have children. I have a good family, and
And you deserve recovery, and you deserve to be happy, and you don't deserve to self-sabotage to ruin everything you have because you don't think you deserve any of this shit.
So anybody, if you're listening and you're just getting in the rooms and you're fighting to stay clean, I understand. Just keep reaching out, and talk to people, because that's my problem. I don't like to talk to people, and that's when I go do what I do best, which is use. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Melissa, thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks for being on.
Melissa.
We want to have you on again soon. Richie, as always.
I
Thank you.
love it. They brought me here one time. I haven't left.
Yeah, he's been here.
That's great. Well, you
The
got a
thing
lot
that
to
we
talk
believe.
about. Keep talking about that ambulance. That's
That's
great.
I will.
You found the home.
I'll take your number too, so when I get it all done, I'll shoot
Yeah,
you a
you
picture.
get to do a close up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah.
could do that, and I could put it up.
Keep up the
Okay.
good work
Oh, thanks, Johnny.
with our West Coast people.
I would love.
These guys are the wind beneath my wings. Truly,
There you
that's
go.
right.
That's right. Artie, great job as always.
I would love to
Yeah,
come
thank
out
you.
and do your show one time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
got a
let's-
place to stay too.
We'll do that.
And do the show.
I'll do that.
Absolutely.
That would be
I already,
awesome.
For the
You
hotel,
take
I
the
got
ambulance,
the
Artie
hotel
and I
for
will meet
everyone
you
to
out
stay
there.
too. We're at my
We'll
house.
be at the
but-
racetrack.
I'm not
for a while.
driving.
Thank you
Arthur.
all. Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
callers, and until next time, be well.
Take care.
At Addiction and Recovery TV, we talk about raising awareness, and we also talk about the problems and situations revolving around addiction and recovery. And it's always important to remember that if you struggle in an area and you're looking for help or resources, there are plenty available. And sometimes it just takes a picking up the phone and making one simple phone call that can make all the difference. So remember, we're always available and we're ready to help you in any way that we know possible, and definitely lead you in the right direction, because along the pathway of darkness, there is a light of hope along those roads. So hopefully you will be open to see the light and walk in that direction. So if it's mental health, if it's addiction, even suicide, the help is always readily available. Just take that initiative to reach out and receive it.
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, like I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
So I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message. I made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.
Many people have been touched by addiction, either directly or indirectly. Join us as we educate and break the stigma associated with addiction. Together, we can start a revolution and bring the disease out of the darkness and into the light.
What I'd love to see from today's event is that understanding that the silence will end. No longer should folks who have suffered through addiction, whether they're currently in the throes of it or whether they've recovered, hide the reality of what they've been through. First of all, it's the only way we're going to be able to transparently in our society rip off the scab and allow badness to flow away so we can actually heal as a country. But also we're losing 20 plus million people as allies, folks who've been addicted and are in recovery and can attest truthfully that recovery is real, because most of the folks who are still addicts don't think it is. And that's true for mental illness too.
Right, and so that brings us to the topic that addiction is real, and if you know, in recovery they have classified it as a disease. Are you familiar with the term disease of addiction and understanding that that is a statement?
I've heard numerous people today say addiction is a disease. You need to treat it like a disease, which means you need professional help, but you got to also rally around folks and stop picking on them, because of course if they could do it, they would. And their minds don't want them to get better. And they'll ostracize people around them, so they sort of isolate themselves, which further worsens the scenario. So you begin to understand the deeper pathology of how it affects families. Of course, 1 in 3 families is influenced in some way by this. You begin to appreciate that we've got a global scale problem on our hands.
Awesome, that's a great answer.
Well, I think that addiction is a family disease, so we need to educate and support families and let them be aware that help is possible for their loved ones. We realize that it's a difficult thing to admit, but we want to support people in education, not only, group type sessions where people can talk, but even events where people can go to and kind of commingle with other people that suffer from the same affliction.
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, like I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
So I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message. I made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.
But some of the questions that we still need to ask on this program are, why is it that people are so lost? What makes someone turn to drugs in spite of everything else? We've had some guests on our program who've talked about this and even answered the question in so many words by saying that we're not united, that love is missing, and people are indeed in search of their own true identity. So, how is society addressing this issue? If we even are. Are we providing truth to individuals? Are we helping people to find themselves in a world full of so many options? Well, at Addiction and Recovery TV, we would like to help you in this search, even if it's just by letting you know that you're important and that you mean something and that your life has worth and value. Many
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, you know, like I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
Until I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message that made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, you know, like I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
Until I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message that made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.